Welcome to the shop at Boyd's Brass. I'm in the back of my truck here with a new horn for a Resurrection series. This is a Reynolds Contempora FE01 horn, and this is a US Navy horn actually. And it's in great shape except that it's got some dents, stuff like that. It's just been sitting for a very long time. Every single valve is stuck. We've got completely stuck slides here, just tons of corrosion. The mouthpiece, the Holden Farkas mouthpiece, is completely stuck inside. Every valve, I mean, obviously you've got broken, but the valves are not twisting a bit, not even considering it. So this is going to be a great horn for a Resurrection on Boyd's Brass. So let's get started on this horn. The first thing I'm doing is, and I've already done this, is I have corrosion cracker. I've already done some of this to the horn, but I've got corrosion cracker. It's a chemical you can buy from Paris Tools that just busts up corrosion, and it's generally very good for stuck slides. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some of this in each of these stuck slides and hope that this will help get these slides unstuck, because to fix this horn up we're going to have to take it all apart. I'm also going to put some in the mouthpiece area. I've already done these slides. Go to the back side of the horn, and I'm going to put some in this. Just like that. I'm just going to let this soak for a while, hoping that this corrosion cracker will soak in there and eat up the garbage that's holding these slides in. To help with the corrosion cracker soaking into the slides, I've gone ahead and put the horn on my Hercules horn stand here. I've got a couple of these stands. I really like them for this kind of thing, but you can position the horn so that this stuff will gravity feed down into the slides. Corrosion cracker is not going to hurt metal or lacquer or anything like that, but it does eat through, well, corrosion. So I've had a lot of success with this stuff. Sometimes you have to heat it up and then tap a little bit, but this is really a great starting point for stuck slides. So now that the corrosion cracker has been sitting a while, I'm going to go ahead and try pulling a slide. So here's the first valve slide. And it's, oh, there it comes. Yes. Excellent. That's exactly what I wanted. Try this with these other slides. Oh, yep, pulling right out. This is why I love corrosion cracker. If it's true corrosion, it will just come right out really easily. That one's still a little bit stuck. This one's coming. Nice. Just for reference, it's been about 1.5 to 2 hours since I put the cracker on, and it's just been sitting since then. It's coming. There we go. So I've been able to get all the slides out. A couple of them took a slight bit of hammering just with my rawhide mallet, but I was able to do that without damaging anything, just by tapping on the brace part here. You don't want to tap in the middle of a brace or it'll bend it, but if you tap on both sides, just pretty deliberately, it'll be fine. Now I still have completely stuck valves, so in an effort to get these off, I'm actually going to go ahead and, these are also stuck, so I'm going to use my rawhide mallet, just bang on these. Usually this can loosen up any garbage holding the can loosen up any garbage holding that together. And man, this is just these are on there tight. So here's a little trick I have. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my pliers. Now these are adjustable pliers. You've got the two sides, kind of hard to do with one hand, but I'm just going to take blue paper towel because I don't want to wreck the part. Now I've got this grabbed, and I'm just going to go ahead and twist. And using these pliers, yep, that started moving. So let's see if this will move by hand now. Man, it's still on there tight. That's pretty crazy. And there it is after one more twist. Man, it's still on there crazy tight. And there we go. So you got a valve cap off. And man, you can just see this valve. Actually, it's looking interesting. It's got a silver plate on the cap, but in an effort to get this valve free, I'm gonna go ahead and loosen up this screw. See if this just turns. Ooh, it's there it goes. So that broke loose. And then I'm just gonna give this a good solid whack. And that, my friends, is starting to come loose. Sorry for the bad camera here. Wow. It's incredibly stuck still. There we go. So I've gotten this screw out of the #1 valve, but the valve is still very stuck in there. I'm gonna go in here. Give it a tap, and there we go. We are out. So here's the valve, and this top valve cap is just cemented on here solid. I mean, I can turn it a little bit, but definitely got a lot of cleanup to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop the other valves out. Same way, there's the inside of the casing. So definitely gonna have fun cleaning this up. Decided to get my camera stand, which I should have done a long time ago. What I have here is a tool that'll help me pull this mouthpiece out. This is what's called a bobcat. I like them. It's got 2 bolts here, or screws here, that pull up on this metal device, aluminum device that hooks onto the mouthpiece, and then these 2 grab onto the shank of the horn. I've never damaged an instrument using these. They seem to work well. I'm not saying it's the best in the world, but I like them, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this down. I'd say the one thing is sitting it to the size of the instrument can be a little on the challenging side, but it's not too bad. So what you want to do is you want to have the metal plates on the bottom tightened down, sitting on the top of the lead pipe, as you can see there, and then the mouthpiece sits into this little concave thing, and then you just start slowly twisting clockwise, and it will raise itself into position. And that was actually very easy. It just pulled the mouthpiece right out. So that was a completely stuck mouthpiece, and then it just pulled it out real easy. So really happy with this tool. It does a great job every time. It's never failed to pull a mouthpiece out, and it didn't even damage the horn at all, or the mouthpiece. So I'm gonna get back to pulling these valves out. Just gonna go ahead and do all of these caps. So what you don't want to do when you're hammering like this is accidentally hit the lead pipe. That'd cause more damage than, I want to deal with on this horn. It's amazing to me that just tapping on the screws is maybe the safest way I've ever popped valves out. I'm not getting any screw damage, and I'm hitting pretty hard. So I've had some people say it's not the best way, but I've damaged valves the other ways, but not that way. Just look at all this corrosion on this part. Got just a ton of this green garbage or whatever it is. I don't even know what that is, other than corrosion, just all over. And there we go, the horn's fully disassembled, all the valves out. This is going to take a lot of cleaning. You can see inside these valves, there's like, I don't even know what, but just a ton of mineral buildup, or whatever you want to call that. Not really sure. Of course, we've got these dents I'm going to have to work out. But this will be a fun project. I think this is going to be a great horn when I'm done here. Just need some TLC. Got corrosion everywhere here. So I just put the Reynolds through the chemicals, and you can see I was able to clean out all of that garbage just in my classic brass and in power brass solutions. And this horn actually came out really good. So still got the dents to work with, and I'm planning to go to another shop and work with that. But right now I have the slides in the classic brass. Just to walk you through what goes on here. This is classic brass. It's a pretty light chemical, and it just cleans up oil and grease, is my understanding of what it does. So I leave it in there for a few minutes. I'm going to wash it off in the tub here, and then put it in a power brass. And what this does is it cleans out all of those mineral deposits just with that acid. Of course, you don't want to leave it in here too long, or you can really start stripping the lacquer on a horn or something like that. But it is completely safe if used properly. I do have the challenge of these valves. Sorry for the little mess. I have a couple of projects going on here, but these valves are a bit tricky because they are just so, I mean, these valve bearings are solid, frozen on. Now this one's not so much. This might just come off in my hand. Yep, looks like it's coming right off. So there's one. But the rest of these, like, I can't even twist them. They're on there so solid. So we're gonna have to work on this. I'm gonna go get my camera stand and start working on it. So I think the first thing I'm going to try on these valves is just my rawhide hammer. This is not gonna damage the brass, but going around and just hammering on this. And see if that'll break it up. So far not. So that is doing absolutely no good. You know, I just had the idea. Let me put some corrosion cracker on these valves and see if that does the trick. It's been a couple of hours since I put the corrosion cracker on the valves, so I'm just going to go ahead and try to see how they're coming. Oh, okay, I'm feeling some movement. And just tap with the rawhide mallet maybe a little bit. There it comes. The number 3 is off. Wow, look how clean it is underneath the valve cap. It's like, you know, really dirty versus like, wow, pretty nice looking. There we go. And this is not budging so much. Might need a little more time. And this one. The reason I'm using rawhide mallet is because it won't damage the brass if you're hammering on it. I mean, you could like put a dent and stuff and tubing and stuff, but this kind of stuff, it's not gonna do it. Wherein if I was using like pliers or something, like it'd dent it right away, you know. Aha. And there we go. Try just some direct blows. To this guy. There it is. And we are off. So now I'm going to go ahead and put these valves in the cleaner as well, so we can start cleaning up the deposits that are all over this. This is always fun to watch. You've got the slides in the power brass, and you can see here and there little bubbles coming up. That is the power brass eating away at the garbage in these slides. And you can even see this part of the slide right here slowly changing color, that black part. it is going away and getting cleaned up nicely. So really like this chemical. Of course, you want to be careful with it. It is pretty expensive, but a very effective means of cleaning up brass instruments. Something that I will periodically do is use a blue pad. This is an SOS pad. You can just buy them at Home Depot. And it's soap-filled steel wool. Now, I don't recommend doing this unless you absolutely have to, and certainly never ever do it on valves. But this soap-filled steel wool, the soap provides some lubrication, and the steel wool, if used properly, will just really clean up these slides really nicely and smooth them out. So for slides that are fitting really rough because of deposits and stuff, that the chemicals just, you know, I don't want to put the metal in too much exposure to the chemical because that could potentially damage it. But this steel wool will actually clean up these slides really nicely without scratching the metal too much. Of course, this is not something you want to do every time you work on a horn. Only in the most extreme cases of, you know, slides being with just mineral deposits everywhere, like on this horn. So I really, again, not too much of this, right? But this can really help get your slides working well if you just use an SOS pad on horn slides that are just overly dirty. It's a little too much for the chemicals. So here's a little bit of a before and after, just because, you know, I have one slide that I've not done, one slide that I have done. You can see that, you know, even though there's some left over, it's not too bad. And this is the old one. Like, that's just, you can feel the roughness on this, and I don't think the chemical is actually going to touch this. So I just gently wipe it down with the SOS pad, and it goes right away, and it's becomes a really smooth surface that's going to go in and out very nicely in the horn, which is what we want. So there we go. I've gone ahead and cleaned all these slides off. You can see there's a little bit of black left on the slides. What I might do is just buff that very lightly to get rid of the black there, just so it looks nice. But again, you don't want to use this steel wool unless you absolutely have to. But in the case of this horn, it was bad enough to where I felt like this is a good investment for this horn's usability. Just a quick peek. I put some of the slides back in, and that's a slide from another horn. But there's the valves getting chemically cleaned here, and the valve caps. So I'm excited to see how this helps them clean up a little here. So here are all the screws and really small parts from this horn. And I don't usually take a horn down this far. Like, usually, like, I would just leave the screws in the stop arms and stuff. But in this horn's case, like, there's just nasty stuff everywhere. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put these parts also in the chemicals. This nut doesn't come off this rod, so we're just gonna leave that. I just went ahead and put all the screws and small parts in a little strainer here, just because I don't want to lose any of them. Some of the screws are really tiny, so this will just allow me to soak them without the risk of losing any. And just like that, the parts are a lot cleaner. This one still has a little bit of green junk, so I might run it through again. But really happy with, you know, Power Brass and Classic Brass here. It does a really great job cleaning the parts off. So I did this offline, but I did go ahead and go take these dents out at another shop. I used a friend's tools and was able to get most of it out. Of course, there's still evidence. They were pretty bad dents, but most of the dents I was able to get out. That was a really fun project. Really happy with how it turned out. I'm not a master dent person, but you know, these came out nicely, and this horn is definitely to, like, acceptable condition now. So now that the dents are taken out and all the parts are cleaned, it is time to organize the parts and go ahead and put this horn back together. So that's what I'm going to do here. So obviously this may look like a bit of a daunting task. I just kind of pushed all the parts to the side, but it's not all that bad if you know what you're doing. Everything kind of has a specific purpose. I like to start with the valve bumpers. I like to check these. I don't always replace them, but if they're in good shape, which these actually, ironically, the horn being in terrible shape, these are actually fine. they're soft still and solid. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep these bumpers in there, and I'll just check the alignment once I put it on. But I like to go ahead and start with these and just sort out the parts and put these back together. These I just know from experience take the shorter screws. So I like to put a screw in there. Put these screws in like this and go attach it to the horn. We're going to reassemble this thing piece by piece. So now that I'm done with the bumpers, I'm going to go ahead and install the rotors. And oh yeah, I just put the number 3 in after greasing and oiling it, and it's spinning nicely in there. I learned this trick the other day, by the way, so I'm going to share it with you. If you're wondering if your rotors are tapered but you can't see it with the naked eye, here's a trick for you if you have the rotor popped out, okay? So obviously here's my number 2 rotor, stamp number 2 on the top. I'm going to stick it in and it fits in there. Great. Okay, right? It's supposed to fit in that direction. If it fits in the other way, it's not tapered. But if it stops about that far in, that's a tapered valve, right? Because the top part of this won't go in any further because it's the thickest part of the valve. So that's kind of how you can see if the valves are tapered or not. These are tapered valves. Good job, Reynolds. So Abilene Cons did not have tapered valves, but Abilene Reynolds did. So maybe they were better horns. And again, fits in there really perfect. Wow, that's nice. It's just smoothly rotating. Last the trigger valve here. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, we have an issue. This valve is not going in on all the way, and it seems to be because of the bottom bearing. So we're gonna have to do something with that a little bit more advanced. I'm gonna check it out first with just a brush, see if that's some junk getting in the way. I can tell that the bearing is good, but is this? We might just need to clean it out a little bit, but that seemed pretty intense. Let's see if that helped at all. Okay, so I wonder if this may be why this horn was never played. This 4th valve is not going to go in, and yeah, I could tap it in there, but I think that would be counterproductive because it would get the valve completely stuck. So this may actually tell us why this horn seems to have 0 miles on it. I wonder if this rotor never worked proper. I'll bring you on a little closer here, and you can see like this is actually stuck right now. I need to press in from the bottom to bring it up. There we go. Okay, this rotor is just, it's not going in all the way. All right, here's properly seated rotors. This is not even going in all the way, and like I push it down any and it's completely stuck. I've checked out the inner bearing and the bearing on the horn, and like they both look clean. You can see down in there, like it's pretty clean. So I'm thinking this bearing maybe never was lapped in correctly. Thankfully I can lap in valves, so I'm gonna work on that right now and see if I can get this to seat down properly.